And how long has this been in the making for? This
over 6 years right now. So yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, oh, 3 years, and then I was like, oh no, it was on my my product board from back before 2019. So it was. It's funny. I got to look back even further, but it was on my list of things I wanted to have done for SEMA for 2019.
So what are we doing, Ryan?
This is just a really quick little test we're gonna run. So this is one of the first like going out the door batches of sensors, not just prototypes. So what we're gonna do real quick is we've just been doing tons and tons and tons of testing. Really the whole reason why we haven't even like sent the sensor out like fully, we have been just wanting to make sure that everything is right on it. It just, you know, so many times, so many little changes that we've made over the years that we've been working on it to get it to this point. That's just to make sure, you know, that it meets our standard. So what we're gonna do on this is actually, part of this was to solve some of the issues that the GM sensors have, or the Continental, as people know it, the Continental sensor has. So once we get this turned on, there we go. All right, so this is what, same kind of thing a Continental sensor would read out when you have just gasoline in it. But the thing about the GM or Continental is if you short them, for example, if you get a bad batch of fuel that's got water or something in it, it fries the sensor completely. Your sensor is toast. So what we're doing here is we're shorting it. So it's reading a max value and it's not shorting. So that tells me that the sensor is totally good and ready to go out. Let's see if I unshort it. It should go back down to 0% ethanol, which it does. So in part of what we've done here, the reading, you see it, it's kind of moving. It's not moving slow, but it's not instant, is we did that. So if there's any fueling like issues, whatever, your pump cuts out, something weird, you start sucking air, you're not gonna get huge jumps in that ratio. It's gonna hold it pretty solid. So that's purposely done in the software. So we know that this one is good, and we're just gonna test a bunch of these right now before they go out. Hand test them, I should say. And I'm just shorting them just to make sure everything's working properly. Looks like it's working fine. We're just gonna make sure it goes up to what we would expect. Yep. Drop back down. Just making sure it returns the way it should. This is like I don't even know how many tests we've done on each one of these already anyways, but it's literally they sat here for a day, so we're gonna redo all the testing, so.
And how long has this been in the making for? This
over 6 years right now. So yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, oh, 3 years, and I was like, oh no, it was on my my product board from, you know, back before 2019. So it was. It's funny. I got to look back even further, but it was on my list of things I wanted to have done for SEMA for 2019. So. It was around before then, but you know, not in this form, obviously. So, and like I was saying, I'm shorting these just because that's like your worst case scenario. They're working fine. So if you do that to the Continental sensor, it's toast. That's it. That's the end of that sensor. So that's why a lot of them fail, is they'll get a contamination, let's say in the fuel or something, or water, too much water in the fuel. And the engine might even run fine. It might not be enough water that like hurts anything with the engine, but it's enough to short the sensor and done. So we wanted to solve that with our sensor so that people wouldn't have, you know, if you do have some other kind of issue, it's not causing you to have to buy a new sensor. So everything seems to be working as intended, which is great.
And how big of a fitting do these go up to? So I know
Dash 12.
Dash 12, okay.
With no restriction. It's actually larger than Dash 12. So the inner hole is Dash 12. So the flow of the inner tube is Dash 12. So if you need more fuel than that, man, that's some serious bald eagles right there. America.
Leroy.
Yeah. Leroy. I mean, 2,000 horsepower should be fine. So, I mean, most people running that serious a setup it's not on a street car. Most people.
Unless it's a GTR, then everything's street car on that thing for some reason.
Well, and the Huracans too. I mean, it's amazing what they do with that. It's still basically streetable. The only thing is once they're getting up there though, they're running in the small brakes and the tiny tire in the back and the, you know, those kind of situations,
And
which
double
is,
shoots and
yeah, I mean, it's like, it really is that a street car at that point. I mean, the thing is what really makes that possible is the dual clutch. The dual clutch can take a wild engine and still make it like drivable, you know, like that's really the magic, is the fact that you can do so much with the dual clutch. All right, dialed. Every single one of those tested perfectly, as I would expect, but we're gonna get those ready to go out to some key folks right there. So we'll be seeing more and more of these very soon.
you think we're gonna throw one on Mike's bed?
Sure. Put one on the Camaro maybe, on Rowdy. Well, Rowdy's got one, but we doesn't have this latest one actually, because it's been at G-Speed for 4 months. 4 months now? 3 months. Anyways.
You sent it before the
Beginning of December. It's been since the beginning of December. It's I hope so. Yeah, hopefully Friday. So hopefully in a couple days we'll see Rowdy.